Well, Trudeau was at Rudeau. He never left the cottage today. Even though it's a day of work, nice to be able to skip when you want. Well, $5 billion, you think that's a lot of money? You think that's a scandal? Pierre Poilievre just found it. Watch this.
Mr. Poilievre.
Thank you very much. The government says it has started 53,000 infrastructure projects. The PBO says that 20,000 of them are missing from the list. Would the government table the list of those 20,000 projects, including the start date, the amount spent, the location, and what's being built?
The Honourable Minister.
Thank you for the question. As the PBO knows, we have more than 33,000 itemized projects that we have provided to his office. These are projects like the 1,550 solar panels installed in the District of Hudson's Hope in BC, improvements to the Legacy Trail between Canmore and Banff, the rehabilitation...
Mr. Poilievre.
The government claimed that there were over 50,000 projects. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister says 30,000 projects. That means there are 20,000 missing projects. Will the government table that full list, including the start date and what's being built for those projects?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As a reporter, I was always careful not to misquote people. So let me be clear on what I said, which is that there were 33,000 itemized projects that we provided to the PBO. There are also approximately 12,000 municipal projects that have been funded through the gas tax fund, and I encourage the member opposite to speak to mayors across...
Back to Mr. Poilievre.
So there are 20,000 missing projects. Will the Deputy Prime Minister table the list of those projects today? Yes or no?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Let me, Mr. Speaker, talk about some of those 33,000, actually 33,049 to be precise.
Mr. Poilievre.
There are 20,000 missing projects from the list. Will the Deputy Prime Minister, yes or no, table the list of the missing projects today? Yes or no?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
So let me help the member opposite with some precision. As I said, 33,049 projects have been itemized. There are also approximately 12,000 municipal projects.
To Mr. Poilievre.
So the government said there were 50,000 projects. They say that they only have a list for 30,000 projects. 50,000 minus 30,000 equals 20,000. Those are the projects for which there are no start dates, no locations, no description. We don't even know what they built. And according to the PBO, they total $5 billion a year. That's $5 billion a year in missing projects. Will the Deputy Prime Minister table that 20,000 project list today? Yes or no?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The member opposite seems to have a problem hearing precisely what I am saying. I've heard him say 30,000 a few times, but I think I've been quite clear that the itemized projects are 33,049. This includes 8,548 projects in my own Ontario, 4,594 projects in BC, 3,502 projects in Saskatchewan, 3,096 projects in Alberta, 2,800...
Now go back to Mr. Poilievre.
So the Deputy Prime Minister will not agree to table the list. Here's a simple question. The government claims they've spent $10 billion a year on infrastructure. The PBO says there are only lists adding up to $5 billion a year. Will the Deputy Prime Minister, yes or no, commit to tabling in the House of Commons the list for the remaining mysterious and so far unlisted projects?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our government is committed to being very precise on what we are doing in infrastructure. So let me be precise and say 33,049 itemized projects, an additional 12,000 municipal projects funded through the gas tax, which is an excellent way for municipalities to build, and the mayors are extremely keen on it. You should talk to them, members of this House.
45,000.
So MP Freeland was taking as just questions. The PBO's office is the one who declared that 20,000 jobs are missing, valuing a totaling of $5 billion. And she never answered the question. There must be something fishy about it, because you don't avoid questions that hard. Have a good day and scrap.